you're at Fancy Footwork. That's FUUTWERK. You got the John River. We have LIWI, Lee68. We have at Britta B. At Miss Britta B. I apologize. At Miss Britta B. But all of you guys have definitely had an accolade just in the past month or so that's definitely pushed you to the next level. For you, definitely shooting Maya and also doing your Survival Stories event, right? For John, the case with John River, with J. Cole, and then for Mark, the 45th anniversary of the John Carlos story, and for Britta, something recently just kind of really big happened to you. I just want to get Britta to talk a little bit about this tip slam that
Yeah, so a friend of mine, Anto, he actually put me in a slam. It was going to be the first time we were competing against each other. It was the Toronto International Poetry Slam. And things were just kind of worked out. I just felt so privileged. It's funny because the weekend during the slam, Anto and I were both out east. I was in Kingston, he was in Ottawa, so he drove me back to Toronto. We went to the slam together. And we just couldn't help but keep talking about the fact that we're so privileged that we get to wake up and do what we love to do every day. And a lot of the artists that were going to be in that venue that night, they don't get to do that. They have other jobs, they have other responsibilities, and they don't get to focus the way we do. So we had just felt like we had already won. And so I just had a good feeling about everything, and I ended up winning the slam. And I feel really, somebody asked me if that adds credit to, or if it validates me as an artist, and it doesn't. It just is something that people can understand more. You know what I mean? It doesn't help me understand more about myself. It just is like, oh, I'm a Toronto International Poetry Slam champion. That helps validate it for you maybe, but not like for me. It's something that I got to share a stage with one of my best friends and split the money with them in front of everyone. There have been so many times when I've come close to winning slam, like second or third place, I just wish the first person. I'm like, yo man, I'm so hungry. Like, could you give me a little bit of that money? So it felt nice to be on the other side of our notes. But we won $1,000, so we both got $500 each. Got a rent.
That was amazing. I can also just speaking on that, Ansel, the person who actually got her in this slam, they split the 500. Ansel actually came back to R.I.S.E a couple weeks later and actually gave us $100 as a donation. I think it's really big, you know what I mean? Because it's definitely what you put out there. This is reincarnating that whole idea of what you put out there, what you get back. Because Ansel's I guess seeing somebody like him has definitely rose from the program that we provide every single Monday. And before we actually jump into any questions, I want you guys to kind of think of any questions that you might have for some of our panelists. But before we jump into that, just some key advice that you may have for some artists who might be out there kind of dabbling in between, do I quit this job? Do I do my art full time? Or, what I'm saying, just kind of being in that on the fence, what I'm saying, about it. And, what advice can you give to them as far as, if you love your art, it's your passion, something that you're passionate about, something that you want to do. A lot of our parents are doing, or my parents, I can speak on my parents, are doing jobs that they don't even necessarily want to do. What I'm saying? They're doing it just to make ends meet. And I feel like we're a generation where we've seen that happen before, and we have the opportunity to not allow that to happen. To work in a field that we want to work in, and we can create that lane for ourselves. And these are 4 people who have definitely done it, and there's so much more for all 4 of them. So any advice you guys can give to these artists who might be on the fence?
Mm-hmm. Mine's more like a 3-step process, and of course, I'm still learning and I'm still testing out the waters, and I have so much more to understand as well in my world. But if you have an inkling of a passion, of something that you can see yourself doing, follow it, pursue it. Try to understand what that is and really throw yourself out there. And also know yourself. Take time to reflect. Take time to understand who you are. Are you able to make a commitment to yourself? We were just kind of talking about this earlier. If you can't make a commitment to yourself, how are you going to commit to anybody else? How are you going to be there when they ask you to be on time? How are you going to be, you know what I mean? It's a huge ripple effect of who you are on the inside that really shows on the physically as well. And then after that, be specific. Know what you want. You have to be specific. If you think about it, they're shooting stars right now. People wait till night till they wish for something. But make a plan. Be specific right now and know what you want.
You guys, before I just want to cut off, Britta's really intelligent, if you notice, she's a writer. She's an inkling, if you have an inkling. So you have the ink and the lit, you know what I'm saying? I'm just playing with you. Go on, Mark.
Just to add to that, wow, this is going to be interesting, but don't be afraid to failure. Like, throughout my life, I fell many of times, and then I hear the naysayers of people saying, why don't you just get a job, man? Just get back into the 9 to 5, get back into the matrix. And I just want to get out. Yeah, but I just want to get out that grid. I just want to still do me. So don't be afraid of your failures and learn from them and just keep going. I've been like 2 decades deep into this. Like, I haven't changed. Black on crack. I'm just saying, like, I've been in it for a while. Like I said, I believe in what I have, and I want to keep sharing that. So that's the one thing I say. You're gonna fail, but just accept it, learn from it, and we'll keep it moving.
How many people here always say, I have a gut feeling? Put your hand up if you always say, I have a gut feeling. Okay. That's a lot of people. Okay, Britta spoke earlier about TED.com. TED.com is a great website. If you haven't been there, please do go. I went to TED.com and I watched an interesting interview. I speak, and what the guy said, one of these guys, I think his name is Simon Sinek or something about that, about how great leaders inspire action. Your brain is really set into 2 parts. 10% of it is, I don't know if it's 10% is the neocortex, or there's 2 parts of your brain, the neocortex and the limbic part that he was speaking specifically about. The limbic controls 90% of your rational thinking. 90% of the information you process goes to the limbic part of your brain, but it doesn't have any linguistic capabilities. 10% of the information you process goes to the neocortex, but that's the logistical and things you're able to say. So, for instance, what he was really trying to say was, if you put 9 people in a room, or 10 people in a room, and you ask somebody what color sweater is the 11th person wearing, 9 of them saying it's a black sweater and 1 person saying it's a white sweater. If you come into the room and you say, all right, what sweater is this wearing? And 9 people tell you he's wearing a black sweater, you're probably going to say he's wearing a black sweater. The 1 person who says it's a white sweater is 9 times more likely to be wrong. So the limbic part of your brain processes 90% of the information. But because it has no emotion, we labeled that throughout history as your gut feeling. So whenever you say, I just have a feeling, or I just had a feeling this would happen. And when I look back at this story with J. Cole and I say, all these things just happened for me, reality is, I had a lot of gut feelings. It's not bullshit. Your gut feeling is 9 times more likely to be more accurate. So don't feel because you can't say something, or you can't find words for it, or you'll say something like, I just know. You do know. But it doesn't matter if you don't trust yourself. So that was something that I watched that helped me be like, okay, I can try it, Tim. Okay, well, and sometimes you're still wrong, but very rarely. So that's my pitch to you, that if you have a gut feeling, go with it. If you feel dropping everything, I had that feeling. A year and a half ago, I was playing soccer. I said, gotta come back and do this because this is the right thing to do. And a year and a half later, I consider myself to be in a good position. So do that if you haven't. That's it.
And just before, we're gonna jump right over. You just said something really quick, and I just wanted to just touch on it for a few people. John's father is a professional soccer coach, right? So he's been playing soccer all of his life. He had a full ride scholarship. Like, he would have been making millions, playing soccer. You know what I'm saying? And that to his father is success, but to him was not quite success. And this is somebody who's been trained to do something his whole life and said, you know what, I'm going to jump and I'm not going to do this. I want to follow my gut feeling. And he followed his gut feeling. And it's, regardless, you move from success to be in a position where you might not be successful, where it was kind of, up in the air. A risk. He took a risk and he jumped in, and look where this man is. Like, you're 19 years old? And you haven't even, you're done, right? You done high school yet?
No, I had to sit down with my mom actually. there was a big like trip I was going to take to Kentucky that we were planning, or I could have finished like the online courses that I was doing. And I think it's really weird. I think you get to a point in time where you say to yourself like, okay, this is real life. School can't work for everybody. You know, if I want to be a doctor, if I want to be a lawyer, but there's no degree that you have to be a rapper. Shout out to Gucci. You know what I mean? Like, I said, Mom, look, like, if you give me 6 months, and if you just take the monkey off of the back of me having to read 8 hours of A Great Gatsby or something that you know I'm going to give to a teacher who's going to mark it for 800 other kids, she's not going to remember who I am, they're going to give me a grade, and then 5,000 other black kids exactly like me are going to go through the same damn program, and like 20 of us are going to end up in university. Like, give me some leeway to show you what I could do, you know? And it was funny, a teacher of mine actually hit me up to talk about the marketing for a school that I went to a couple of years ago. So it's amazing, like I was struggling passing a marketing class in a school, and then the same person who runs the class comes and asks you to do marketing for the people who run the school. So you're smart, you may not be able to be, like, I cannot find like the equation for pi and the chemical whatever, but I knew that there was a different...
3.145.
Yeah. Shout out to Randall. But don't feel like you have to like go up a certain alley. There's so many different ways of smart, and embrace it, man. So just really believe in yourself, because we're all very, very smart. Just gotta find your niche and stick to it. Stick to it.
Amazing, amazing. And Miss Gonzaga, you know, like, I know you a little bit personally, and, you know, like, it's just, your story is just really interesting, you know, like, it just really for me to know where you are, where you've been, and to know, like, you know, you didn't get as much support from your parents. And I know, like, how many people here are artists, and, you know, kind of your parents don't really support exactly what you do. Anybody?